Today is the day we are going to take a leap of faith and try and start our cattle feedlot operation. I have a pasture and a calving pen on this particular farm, and if I really want to dive into it, we can start working some deals out with Arthur to use his actual feedlot. I'm just getting some last minute checks before I head down to the dealership and purchase a trailer for 15 grand. We are going to need to look into getting a bucket for the manure system on the opposite side of this barn, but we have hay that still needs to be baled up that can be used as feed. We already have about half the food from those original bales the farm starts with. Let's march our way down to the dealership, pick up that trailer, and then we are heading to the sale barn. Corn is indeed knee-high by the 4th of July, so hope you guys are having a fantastic time. Welcome back to the First Generation Farm. We're going to be picking ourselves up a 22-foot cattle trailer because I do not have any connections with farmers in the areas that have the smaller trailer or even the big ones. So I have to just bite the bullet and spend about half of my savings right now in order to acquire one. When we take a look at the cattle market, we're in what I would call a good time to buy. I would presume the best time to buy would probably be in September, but cattle take 2 years in order to get to full weight at 24 months, 1,500 pounds. Then the best time to sell is March and April. We, of course, do not have a major amount of money to work with, so we only get to work with the amount of cattle that we can afford. Where's the buying symbol? I thought the buying symbol was somewhere over here. Hold on. There we go. This one's gonna hurt, but I think it will pay off in the end, especially with the amount of crop that we have this year. If you guys are as excited as I am to finally get cattle on the farm, be sure to let me know down below by hitting that like button, dropping a comment, and consider subscribing. I myself personally have never been to a sale barn when they actually have the cattle, pig, and whatever animals are being sold. But depending on what the price point is, we're probably just going to go with calves, and not ones that are separated from their mothers, ones that mothers probably died in childbirth that we are bottle feeding. That way when we could start making our own cattle operation, none of the animals have felt like they were disconnected from their, let's say, ancestors. I don't know. We just don't want to do that to the cattle. We wouldn't want it to us, we wouldn't want it to them. A little over $10,000 later, and we are set to roll. With it being the middle of July, we do not have any cover crops of wheat that we need to harvest, but we do have the remaining of the hay ground we need to get picked up, baled up, and either transported to the cattle pen for food, or we're going to be taking it to the market. The 1206 is currently stationed up at the North Farm, and my case tractor is sitting at this ground with the rake. Rake's got to go south, baler's got to go north, and the cattle got to go in there. Introducing livestock to the mix is gonna be, well, we just increased our workload by about double. I was gonna say you're gonna have to forgive me. I've yet to put animals on this farm at all. I have no idea what I'm doing. Exactly what I was saying. We're gonna have to put these guys in the pasture, meaning we really are gonna need to bring some food down here. The calving pen is the one that has the food, which likely entails that I'm gonna need to head back to the sale barn and pick up a few beef cattle. That way we can have the calving pen start making our own cows. Yeah, moo-moos have arrived. We better go name them. If we don't name them, then they're not ours. That'll be Timmy. This'll be Jimmy. That's Phil, Dolores, Bessie, Kathy, Susan. I believe that's it. I highly doubt I'm going to remember any of those names, but at least they have names. Ooh. Now that I think about it, we're gonna need to invest in a feed mixer and chop some corn. Uh-oh. That's not good. That's not good at all. Man, I really did not think about that before I started buying cattle. If we need to take out a loan, we can. We're not really in huge financial trouble, but I would like to stay on top of the finances as much as possible because that is a slippery slope that you do not want to get yourself involved in if you can't dig yourself out. How much are the big mamas gonna cost? Ooh. Probably better do 2, putting us now down to $9,100. Yeet. How much does that mixing wagon cost us? 30 grand. That's rough. Nothing a $50,000 loan can't fix, right? We also, in theory, can buy the cattle mix from the co-op until we can afford the mixer ourselves. That will be the significantly cheaper option, but sadly, I think it's really my only other option. Okay, mama, let's get you two into the pen. I don't want you two fighting at all, so don't be no biting, no screaming, no kicking. Here we go. Tan one is Delilah. The dark one will be Ruby. Delilah and Ruby. I kind of like those names. But those cows are hungry, so we need to get on the food half of this job and get our butts in high gear. Since the 1206 is stationed with the baler, that's the easiest access to food, I'll just haul the hay rack back with however many bales come from the north field, and then the rest we can technically just take to market. Bales were a nice little source of income, but now they are also a food supply. That is until I can get cattle feed, which is not going to be cheap in the slightest if I have to buy it from the co-op. If I didn't use the co-op for my fertilizer applicating, I would definitely be having to invest in a manure spreader, but luckily I got a pretty good deal going on with them, so we do not have to buy one just yet. With the amount of terrain that this field covers, we'll easily get a full rack out of it. There's no way we don't. But let's get baling so that message goes away that they need feed. Just compiling the opening sector of the ground, and we have already almost gotten 2 full stacks. That's pretty good. Kind of try and collect all of the headlands. That way it's just the up and downs left. I would love to get myself a bigger round baler. I don't know what kind of a baler guy you are, but I am personally a round bale type of dude. However, I do not believe we have the infrastructure nor the power to even remotely obtain or use one of those things. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the 1206 has more guts than I think it does. With headlands mostly knocked out, that puts us at about 3 3/4 of a stack. Try and get these little extra blips, and it's go time. The pickup on this baler every now and then seems a little finicky, but I might just need to go down there and tune some of the tines or check all my belts to make sure that it's working properly. I guess it also could be that I'm not having the baler set low enough. That could also be a problem. Square balers are pretty dang simple, but they can also make you feel really dumb from time to time. All my current farm hands are out of state with their families on vacation, so it is just gonna be me trying to knock all this extra work out this morning. I don't mind, it keeps me busy and keeps more money in my pocket. They don't want to show up, they don't get paid. And I guess it kind of gives the far south field a little bit more time to dry since it's all spread out right now. I would think within 2 more runs we would have a full rack. That really enthralls me because that means we'll have at least probably 2, 3, maybe. I would say 4. Probably 3. 3 full racks. I know you're out of feed. I'm on my way. Greedy cows. Greedy. Oh, that's right. I'm the one that got into the animal market. That's all my fault. It's always going to be my fault. There's the first full rack. Head down to the cattle barn and get the moo-moos fed. Maybe, if they let me. Boop. Need to find another one of these hay racks for cheap so I can just keep cycling through. When one's full, you put the empty one on, and you go empty the other, and vice versa. I also don't really know why they put the absolute largest wheels on the running gear. It'd make more sense if it had the smaller ones on the anhydrous trailer. Hang on, Bessie. Once again, you're gonna have to excuse me. I don't really know how this works with the hay rack trailer. I would presume you drive right up to the feed trough and it allows you to dump? That's my guess. Otherwise, I might have to drive in there by the hay rings. Ah, yeah, there you go. Holy cow, how much feed did they take? Pasture? Wow, they are gonna need a lot of hay. Scratch everything about selling it. We're bringing it all to the pasture. We are gonna need a lot. I might have to talk to Arthur about if he has any CRP ground available that we might be able to rent off of him. We're gonna need a lot of grass. Maybe not with 10 head of cattle, but as the operation grows, yeah, we're gonna need more. For sure. I want you guys to head down below and comment if you have done the animal system in American farming. Which one do you think makes more money, or which one does make more money? I have done the hog operation on the big time operators, and now the beef cattle are going to be taking over the first gen farm. I think the pigs are a faster turnaround, but the cattle might be worth more money. That's kind of my take on what I'm visually seeing right off the get-go. I don't think we're gonna get another full rack out of this ground, but we might get pretty close. We got 2 passes left. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, we've still got, I believe, 2 full stacks to go after this one. There's no way we're filling this up. Not a bad thing, just an observant thing. That wraps up north. About 4 miles shy of a rack. I'm gonna head that direction anyway because I have to head south. Might as well just take the farm all and deliver the bales ourselves. Beans aren't looking too bad, but that's Arthur's ground. That's not mine. That ground just on the opposite side of the corn, that's mine. I'll have to go check that probably in the next day or 2 to see if the weed control is keeping up. Here you go, moo-moos. Take the rest of it. Let's see what that did. Not bad. Probably somewhere in the... I don't even know if that's 20%. That might be like 18%. We've only got 10 cows sitting in this. There's no way that 10 cows are going to go through that much feed feed in a severely short amount of time. We need to head over to the rake and start heading south. Plus, we need to pick up a bucket for the little Farmall. Just gonna leave you sitting pretty. And we might drive the Farmall Super M to the dealer, mainly because it's been sitting for a couple weeks and I don't want it to, not really seize back up, but I don't want it to run too cold to where we can't even get it running again. Tractor's great, just haven't had any uses for it. Well, now we can unload manure if we have to. But it's our only front-loading tractor, so we gotta make sure it's up and running. I think the Dorito field is a mixture of sizes between the ground we just finished baling and then our original hay ground. It's got pretty long straightaways, but I don't think it's as long, but it definitely is wider. Let's check that. The ground we just baled is a little over 4 acres, not exactly 4 1/4. And the Dorito, there ain't no way that's an acre less. That looks visually almost about the same size. Guess it is what it is. Huh. Interesting. I did bring my drone with me, so we're gonna at least pop that up in the sky. I could fly it while I'm raking. It's not a problem. We'll catch some shots for you guys. Man, I did not realize how much having extra hands on the farm really does help. I could have had the baler down here getting these roads by now. That's okay. I guess it gives me time to look on my store and just see how much it's going to cost me to make an actual livestock operation happen. So it's 30 grand for the feed mixer. Probably going to need a forage harvester. Yep, 30 grand for that. And 35 for the forage wagon. So we're already up to $95,000. Then you factor in the attachment of $2,800. $97,800. I don't believe I would need anything else unless I'd have to get something in the hay department, and I don't believe I would. I guess if I was adding another hay rack, that's another $5,000 on top. But $97,800 is what we're looking at to get the cattle operation fully up and operating to get cattle feed without having to buy it from the co-op. That's gonna hurt. Ouch. We might wait it out a season before we really start diving in. We'll just feed the cattle hay for the first year, and then we'll start working on doing the forage harvesting. That'll probably be our next expansion. But if I do that, I'm gonna need the mixing wagon anyway. Ugh! Why does everything have to be so expensive? I think I just need to take a fence stake and whack it in the back of my knees. What did I just get myself into? Should have done the hogs. Should have done the hogs. But I don't have a hog barn. Unless I use that guy's farm up north, where we'd have to split the profits on that. Got about half a tank of fuel. Should be enough. Just gotta bail. I just realized how absurdly large that door is on the shop. Like, that's not even a wall. That wall is literally just a door. That is a big door. Anybody else notice that? I guess somewhat apologies. It was just kind of a squirrel moment. Headlands are done. Onto the back and forths. If I can get one full rack and a couple extra, that would probably offset the other 2 trailers that were not full, meaning we would have 4 full trailers out of 3 fields that we can currently mow. Not bad, and especially if we can mow them multiple times a year. The CRP ground that we might be able to rent, we'd have regulations as to how many times we can cut, but it would at least help increase the amount of grass that we could either use as additional profit or backlog cattle feed. And I'm missing a bunch. Dang it. Getting pretty close to having a 3rd full rack. I think my guess is just about right. We would have 4 full trailers because this probably might get us about a rack and a half once we get it emptied. Maybe. My truck still is up at the north farm. Gonna have to go get that. Oh, hello. Let's get this shuffled back to the farm. Beautiful. And with a quick teleportation potion, we are on our way to the hay rack. On the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again. That is some of my new rented ground. I want to check out my crops quick. Let's just pull off and see what this is looking like. The corn, like I stated in the beginning of the video, it is knee high in the middle of July, which is exactly what we want. We want it knee high by the 4th. And beans, ooh, these look really good. Good germination, good separation, good color, but only time will tell if all the work that we have put into the ground will pay off. Looking at the overhead, not all of this is my ground. Some of this is Arthur's. The stuff that is highlighted is what is planted, but the soybean ground that is just north of my farm, this plot is Arthur's, along with this, and all 3 of these, and a couple other ones. But we might rent this plot, this plot, this plot, and that plot from Arthur, because before I had to swap the save game over to the new device, 3 out of those 4 fields were the wheat crop that we harvested, but immediately had to sell because of the transferring process not carrying over very well. I had to get rid of it so it would look even on the new game. The 4th field would likely be a cover crop mixed with corn, but things will come in due time. We're just kind of trying to figure out our system. Now that we got cattle, we really got to think about what crops are going in the fields. My life is now going to be completely encased in sale barns and land auctions. There is no in between. Another round. Let's see where they're at. Now we're at about a quarter. That works for me. The last of this we're just going to take and give it to the mama cows, or soon to be mama cows, and that will wrap out our day. So let's go finish that up, and we'll see you guys back at the farm. Looks as though we got quite a few more bales than I anticipated. Never a bad thing. 4 full lines, I'll take it. But thank you guys all so much for tuning into the First Gen Farm. I hope you did enjoy this episode and the incorporation now of beef cattle to the operation. It sure is going to add quite a bit of drama. I'm sure I will learn and screw up along the way multiple times. But if you guys want to check out the rest of the First Gen Farm playlist up in the top right-hand corner of your screen, you can do that now. Other than that, be sure to keep it light, keep it loose, keep it fresh, most importantly, keep it fun. We shall see you guys in the next one. This is Squad Farms out. Peace.